So we conceived Millie November 2022. We'd been trying to conceive for 2 years at that point. So Dylan and I had started trying in, I'm going to get my dates wrong, but say 2020. And we had an early miscarriage. And then that actually led to that first breakup that I was telling you about, where we had the 6 months off. It was kind of like a, is this meant to be for us kind of thing. We got back together, continued to try falling pregnant. In that time, I so badly wanted to be a mum. Since I was like 30, I've wanted to be a mum, so 9 years. And I actually went on the IVF donor sperm route for a while. And I went down that whole journey of doing IVF on my own. And I got all the way to the point of choosing the donor. And that's when I rang my sister and I was like, I don't want a donor, I want Dylan. And that's what got us back together, was me.
Welcome to another episode of Planting Seeds with Soul. Raw conversations on transformation, truth, and finding light in the darkest places. You may not hear what you want, but you will definitely hear what you need. Alrighty guys, welcome back to another episode. Planting Seeds with Soul. Today we have Rochelle Evrard on. How you doing, Rochelle?
I'm good.
You good? Just bring that mic a little bit closer to you if you can. About where mine is there.
Good.
Yep, perfect. So guys, last week we had Dylan Evrard on, which is Rochelle's husband, Big Bird. How the fuck did you end up with him?
Oh my gosh. Good question. We actually met on Australia Day at the beach.
Mm.
I was sober with my new puppy. He was not sober. I always joke that I should have seen the red flags and run that day, but I didn't. I really liked him. But yeah, we met through friends at an Australia Day party. And he's a wild child, but I love him.
How long's it been?
6 years.
6
6 years, yeah. Australia Day 2019 we met. We went on our first date 4 days later.
Mm.
I was going to say we've been together ever since. We actually broke up in 2021 for about 6 months. I don't know. Yeah, he probably shared on one of the potties he's done with you, but he had a bit of addiction stuff to fight and gambling and all the things, and I had some things I had to learn. So yeah, we broke up for 6 months and then we got back together. So
I think he did mention that on the last one. He loved a drink, didn't he?
Loved a drink. Just fucking punished, to be honest. Like real shit drinker.
Yeah.
Real shit. And just blackout drunk. And I'm 7 years older than him, and I just couldn't be bothered with it. I was like...
Kel said that today. I didn't realise that you were that much older than Dylan.
Yeah. So I'm 39, he's 32.
I've got to ask, is he blackmailing you for you to still be with him? What?
Come on.
No?
He's a good egg.
He is a good egg. I don't know how we've ended up, but it's just he's all about banter, eh?
And it's taken me 6 years to be okay with that. Like in the beginning, I was like, it was not okay. And I've had to set boundaries on, because the thing was, when he would drink, the banter would come into the drinking and it would be nasty. And that's where I was like, if you banter when you're sober and then you banter when you're drunk, it's different. And so I had to set real big boundaries around the banter. It's hard, but now I'm also a bit more relaxed with it, where I'm like, okay, that's just his humor, and you get it. Yeah, he's a lot. He
is a good guy though. Like, obviously I was joking around about all that. He's an unreal bloke. For those of you who haven't heard the story, Dill, he was on the last episode with us just recently. He did the podcast on me, so allowed me to sort of share a bit more about myself and all that.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what episode it was. It was a fair few weeks ago where Dylan, he shared the harsh story about losing his little girl Millie. But obviously, we got the mother here today who's gonna share a bit of that story. Hopefully, if you're keen to share that.
Yeah, of course.
And a few other things that we'll get into after.
And I will say as well, like with the Dill thing, like we are chalk and cheese. Like I'm an anxious, more reserved person, and he's like that full-on ADHD kind of personality. But anytime we have conflict, or there's been many times where we've gone to, this is not working, whatever, and I talked to my sister about it, she goes, Dylan always steps up. Like he will always do the work that we need to do, both of us. to be better. So sometimes it might take a little bit of time, but he always steps up, and that's why
He's a good.
yeah.
You just give each other what you need, eh?
Yeah.
At the time,
Yeah.
it's a bit like it's very much like Kels and I. You know, like yesterday, I'll be straight up. I was feeling like shit. Yesterday was my birthday, and I don't know what was going on, but it was just like this bad weather, like this weather right now. You know, without having a weatherman to predict the forecast to tell you that it was coming, it just come over me. I just felt like shit, just feeling real yucky. But I have Kels here to pick me up. You know, whenever I'm not believing in myself, she'll remind me to believe in myself.
Yeah. And it's hard sometimes. Like Dylan has struggled. While I struggle with his hyperactiveness, he struggles with my depression sometimes. Like he's like, how do you not leave the house for 3 days? Or how do you sleep so much? But we've just come to accept those things. And I think probably more so since Millie. Like, you know, we struggled during the cyclone because he was out driving every hour. He couldn't be in the house. Whereas I was like in my element. I was like, give me a puzzle magazine and the pets in my bed and I'm good, you know? So we just have to accept our differences. And I think the more we do that over time, the better it gets.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
And I think that space is good anyway, you know?
Yeah.
I think if you're always constantly around someone, like you can, it's when fights start to happen and all that sort of thing. But
yeah. But yeah, we're good. We're probably in the best space we've ever been. So that's huge and amazing. And
well, if you can get through what you've been through, you know, like that's next level sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, not many people go through that shit. But Rochelle, tell us a bit about, you know, we've heard it from Dylan, you know, what he went through. Obviously you both went through it together, but we all have our own personal journey and hardships and challenges with the, you know, the experiences that we go through. So give us a bit of a sharing of your experience, your personal experience with Millie, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So we conceived Millie November 2022. We'd been trying to conceive for 2 years at that point. So Dylan and I had started trying in, I'm going to get my dates wrong, but say 2020. And we had an early miscarriage. And then that actually led to that first breakup that I was telling you about, where we had the 6 months off. It was kind of like a, you know, is this meant to be for us kind of thing. We got back together, continued to try falling pregnant. In that time, I so badly wanted to be a mum. Since I was like 30, I've wanted to be a mum, so 9 years. And I actually went on the IVF donor sperm route for a while. And I went down that whole journey of doing IVF on my own. And I got all the way to the point of choosing the donor. And that's when I rang my sister and I was like, I don't want a donor, I want Dylan. And that's what got us back together, was me like traveling that path to realize, And or I said to my sister, I'm really struggling to choose a donor. And she goes, that's because you already know who you want to share that DNA with, so to speak. So we got back together. We moved up here 4 months later. We continued to try falling pregnant. And then after it had been about 2 years, I went to the doctor and just said, something's not right. We need to seek IVF or something like that because I'm not falling pregnant. I then got diagnosed 3 months later with stage 4 endometriosis. So I have endometriosis and it was all through my bowel, my ovaries, my uterus, my tube. It was like I was riddled. And so I was basically like misdiagnosed for 7 years, in and out of hospital, always in pain, always had issues, which is really common. As soon as I got diagnosed, had the surgery, they removed it. And then we were actually due to start IVF 3 months later. We had 3 weddings on. And so I was like, let's just delay it 1 more month. And then we fell pregnant that month. So Millie was a natural conception, absolute miracle. We were like, and we were so grateful. We were like, amazing. Like, we don't have to do IVF. Like, we knew how lucky we were. It wasn't just oh, cool, you know, like we were all the time. We'd say we save so much money and heartache. And, you know, some people's journeys are so much harder. So I had a full-term pregnancy. I was pregnant with Millie until 39 weeks. And then I was booked in for a planned cesarean because she was breech, so she was head up. And throughout the pregnancy, I kept stressing that I couldn't feel her much. I would like go in for reduced movements, but it would kind of be like no movements. I was like, I don't feel her. It's really strange. And I had a private obstetrician and he would be like, it's your first pregnancy. You don't really know what to feel for. You've got an anterior placenta. And just, I really got dismissed the whole time. Or they'd put me on a CTG. Yep, she looks fine. Heart's beating, which is really hard because now when I go in, I was pregnant again.
You trusted?
I trusted. I put all my trust in him. And I didn't even see my GP throughout the whole pregnancy because I was like, well, we're seeing this amazing obstetrician, really well known on the Gold Coast, and he's telling me it's okay. And even I would say to my family, I just don't really feel her. But of course, I never wanted anything to be wrong. So I'd also be like, oh, he's telling me it's good, it's good. And I never really dove deeper, never got a second opinion, just didn't push it. I was like, oh, there's her heartbeat, it's good. And now, like, if I go in the hospital with anxiety, which I have many times in this pregnancy, they go, oh, there's his heartbeat. And I just go, oh, I'm so sorry. That doesn't reassure me. What else can we do to check he's okay? Like,
oh, fair enough.
Yeah. Whereas most people are normally, oh, there's the heartbeat, you know, and it sucks that that doesn't even reassure me anymore. But, you know, Millie's heart was actually the last thing to go on her last day. So, yeah. So went in for the planned cesarean at 39 weeks because she was breech. And yeah, he cut me open, and I was in a maternal assisted C-section. So I was in the drapes with the OB, with the team. So the maternal assisted is where the mum helps pull the baby out of the stomach, which is super cool. And, you know, because a lot of people have things against cesareans, that they're not as natural, etc. But I guess doing maternal assisted means mum can be more involved. But yeah, as soon as they cut me open, I just saw my OB's face drop, like something was wrong. And I knew before I even got in there. For the weeks leading up, I kept saying, I can't lose her. I can't hurt her. I had visions of hip dysplasia. I had visions of her in bandages, and she was in bandages her whole 6 days on Earth.
I remember this. Yeah, those photos obviously with Dill. That's crazy.
I've visualized it. I fucking knew. And sometimes I doubt myself, like I gaslight myself, like, did I actually? But then my sister will say, oh, I remember you saying this to me, because I'm very close with my sister, and I would verbalize these things to her. And then she has guilt because she's like, I didn't try to help you because I just thought, well, you've got a great OB and you're telling them and they're saying you're fine. So she goes, I just thought it was your anxiety.
Brought up to trust doctors, and like we're not doctors, are we?
No. Yeah. You know, this is his profession. One thing I didn't know was that an obstetrician is for women and pregnancy, not babies. So there's a pediatrician that looks after your baby once they're born. And so I remember being in recovery and I asked the OB a question about Millie, and he goes, I don't know, I don't do babies. Sorry, what? You just
he's the one telling you that it's okay, that she's okay.
Yeah, you just looked after me for 39 weeks with my precious child, and now you say I don't do babies. So this pregnancy, we've actually got an MFM. So she's a maternal fetal medicine, and they do extra training on top of an obstetrician. So they do women, pregnancy, and baby.
Okay, that's
so
good.
When I go in and I have my scans, she is so magical. She's so intelligent. She reassures me so much. So as soon as he cut me open, I actually just started screaming and was saying, what's wrong with her? Get her out, get her out. Is she breathing? Is she alive? And everyone was like, what's wrong? Like no one else knew. And he said, I can't get her out. Because I said, I can see it in his face. And he goes, I can't get her out. So she was floppy. She had no muscle tone. We didn't know any of the reasons at the time. And then they thought that she might have had a HIE, like a head injury from not getting her out quick enough. But for a planned cesarean, that's not normal. That shouldn't have happened. They got her out, and then she was supposed to be like instantly on my chest, but they just cut the cord and put her straight on the resuscitation table. And then I just remember laying there looking at the resus table. Like, I couldn't see her. I could see the back of the pediatrician. I didn't know who any of these people were at the time. I could see the back of a man, and I could just see all these like nurses looking down at her and then looking up at him with this look like, what the fuck is wrong with this baby? Like, how has this just happened? And
like, had no idea what was going on himself?
Nah. They were just, everyone was rocked. And I think I get really cranky because at the time and postpartum for like 6 months, that OB used to say to me, there's no way we could have diagnosed this earlier in utero. My new MFM says 100% she should have been diagnosed in utero. When you came in that many times saying, I don't feel my baby, even if they found it on a scan movement, mother's always right. And we always just investigate because your intuition is always. And I was like, thank you. I sobbed when I met this woman, like my new OB, because I just felt so seen. Like, yes, it could have been diagnosed. Yes, no movements is not normal. Doesn't matter that it's my first time pregnancy. As a woman, you know what it should feel like. Like, I mean, this guy moves so much now that I'm like, this is what I knew it was meant to feel like.
You felt not crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so, and I also felt for that whole team in that room. Like, I've met people. I'll be out. I was at a hen's party the following February, and this girl came up and she goes, hey, you don't know me, but I actually work for blah, blah, blah. My whole team were in the birth of your daughter. They had to take time off. They were rattled. And it made me feel better because I was like, wow, it was super traumatizing for me, but it also was for all the people in the room because no one expected it. So had she have been diagnosed in utero and we went in planned, there just wouldn't have been as much of the shock factor. Still would have been shit, obviously. But we grapple with that. Like Dylan always says, he's glad we didn't know because we were just so happy. Like the photos of us literally seconds before the Caesar, we're like cracking up laughing and just so different people, right? Like before trauma and grief. But yeah, so we can't change it, but it was fucking horrific. And now I'm booked in for a C-section next Friday to have my little boy, and I had to fill in the forms for the anaesthetist the other day. And it said, is there anything we need to know? And I was like, oh, shit. So I just put the story. I said, I'm sure you already know because my current doctor would have told her, but I just said, like, I'm so scared that the PTSD is going to come back in that moment, of
going into do they call it theatre?
Yeah, theatre. So like we'll be in there, and I've done a lot of therapy, obviously. So we lost Millie 22 months ago. Can you believe it's been that long?
No, I can't. Time moves so quick.
Yeah, 2 years in July. So we lost her 22 months ago. And so I've done so much therapy and so much work that I think I'll be okay on Friday. I've got an amazing team, a different team. I'm going in the night before so that the experience is different. Like I'll already be in the hospital in my room. They're going to give me sleeping tablets, anxiety, whatever I need to calm me down. And I know it will be beautiful, but I'm just like, I just fucking need him to come out breathing and screaming and causing a commotion. Do you know what I mean? But a good commotion. So I'm just waiting for that moment,
How do you feel about this one?
Anxious as fuck.
But I've felt him moving and stuff. Like that's obviously such a good,
reassuring.
Yeah.
And the thing that I've reminded myself the whole pregnancy is I didn't trust my intuition with Millie, but my intuition was correct. And my intuition with this guy is I'm bringing him home.
Absolutely.
And I didn't have that with Millie. I could never picture her in our home. How weird's that? Never was able to picture my home. Yeah, I used to cry saying I wouldn't survive without her. Didn't want to hurt her, had really bad visions of her being hurt. Like it was, whereas him not. I do feel really good about it. So, yeah.
Did you have the feeling with the visualization as well? Like you visualized, those things with Millie that you spoke about. Did you feel the feeling with it as well? That obviously you felt like something was up.
I could picture myself in my bed when I had the feelings. Like I can take myself back to that moment 2 years ago where I knew I'd have to put myself to bed the whole week before, like just my heart rate was super high. I just knew, which is so wild.
They say with, manifestation, I'm not saying you manifested it, if you have a visualization of something and you actually have the feeling attached to it, that's how things manifest.
So I have interviewed 30 odd people on my podcast, which is about baby loss. And every mum that I interviewed said I had a feeling I wasn't bringing that baby home. Every mum.
They felt that too. They
felt it, and so they either feel them
for their own.
For their own.
Sorry,
Yep. So they knew, they just it's like, yeah, and you try to avoid the thought because you're like, that's really wild and I don't want to think about that. But most have an innate feeling that that baby wasn't coming home with them, or like some of them know the moment their baby has died. It's hectic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's a human in your belly. Like, how are you not so in tune with it? Of course,
for
you
sure.
are. Like
if you're bringing a human into this world, like women have some crazy powers, like power.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's insane.
And I think we just have to trust our intuition more. And it's hard because you get so dismissed. Like, women, even my endo journey, I went into hospital one time. Dylan called me an ambulance. We'd been at my uncle's 60th. I had 5 or 6 glasses of champagne, not a massive amount, my uncle's 60th. And I ended up in hospital in severe abdominal pain. And 2 days later, they discharged me. And the discharge summary said, abdominal pain due to excessive alcohol consumption post-miscarriage, because we'd had the miscarriage the month before. They put down my abdominal pain due to drinking too much after a miscarriage. And I felt like the biggest dickhead. It wasn't and then not even 6 months later, I got diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis. I didn't drink for 9 months after that because I was like, I don't want that to be the reason that people think I'm in hospital, and nothing against using alcohol as that, whatever, but it wasn't where I was at. It wasn't not the reason. And I was so upset. So yeah, sadly we do get dismissed a lot in hospital with, people not trusting, people not believing you, whether they're too busy, whatever the reason is. But yeah.
Fucking nuts. So people are always going to have something.
People are what?
Always going to have something to say.
Yeah. Yeah. But I truly think that the medical system on the Gold Coast is the best. I've lived in many places, like overseas, around Australia, whatever, and the medical system up here is amazing. And I feel like it's chalk and cheese to anywhere else.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it does cop a flog on the healthcare system here, but if you look at other places, around the world and just, anywhere, like, just like anything, it can get so much fucking worse. We are very lucky with what we've got here. Yeah, for sure. My old man, he had a heart attack a couple months ago. Yeah. He got taken or he took himself to the hospital. Where did he go to? He went to the satellite hospital at Currumbin. And they took him to where was it? Coogin, the new Kingscliff Tweed hospital. And it's amazing there. The staff were unreal, and he was getting looked after proper. Yeah, it's just...
Even we've had people go to the little one at Robina, and they're divine and lovely. And, I've always thought, like a little hospital, like, nah, it's good.
They cop a flogging too, the staff there.
Yeah, do they?
Yeah. Oh, just everywhere.
Yeah. ED in general.
Yeah.
Hospitals.
They said, they would have seen, people like me floating around back in the day, junkies. Yeah. Because I was a junkie, getting taken in there in psychosis after smoking meth for days, like being the most disrespectful prick to the staff, trying to steal the green whistles and stuff out of their ambulances and stuff like that. Yeah.
My family, I come from a really deep background of drug abuse and junkies and stuff in my family. I don't know if you know that, but yeah, it's as soon as you say things like that, my head just goes straight back to my childhood and stuff.
Are you close with your family?
It's a mess. It's a mess. My mum started, so my dad was a drug addict my whole life, in and out of jail, dealing drugs, heavily. Like I was saying to you actually before this, like everyone in our family kind of used to smoke a bit of weed, and then it was the gateway drug. It was into speed, and then it was injecting speed, and then it was, dealing. And mum and dad separated when I was 12, and then my mum became a drug addict when I was 12. So she became a drug addict at 41 years old.
Oh, you're kidding?
Like a heavy smoker, like cigarette smoker. And before that was like a beautiful, innocent, the school mum doing the drop-offs, doing dancing, doing all the things. Left my dad because he was a drug addict and because we had like bad people coming to the house and stuff. And then she met a guy through my uncle, and he just swept her off her feet, and she flew up to Townsville Townsville. And he just, yeah, got her hooked on injecting, and they were on the streets. And
Speed.
yep.
Anything
And
else? Anything else like speed?
no,
Sometimes it goes hand in hand. You know, the upper then the downer.
Dad's always been really honest with me. Dad's always just said heroin's not his drug.
Yeah.
So, and like now they're all into ice. Like, I don't know the difference between speed and ice, but somewhat the same, is it?
Man,
I don't know.
I've only heard that, it's pretty well the same, but obviously they're both really addictive, but I've heard meth's cooked a few methods different to speed, but they're very much alike. Like you can smoke speed, you can smoke meth, you can eat it, whatever. But
Well, I think back when we were younger, it was always just that there was their party drug and they'd eat it and whatever. Mum,
yeah.
like everyone, there was a huge alcohol in our family, always fights. Like my dad would be punching on with my nephews, like my cousins, and he's like fucking wild. Like, and I just thought that was normal. Like growing up, like looking back now, I'm like, wasn't that what everyone was going through when we were that age?
Well, if that's
That's all we
if that's the
knew.
environment that you live in, then you don't really know much different until you do go out and experience different,
Mm. And then, yeah, so mum was with this guy and he got her addicted and they were on the streets, like they were full on homeless. People used to message me, oh, I just saw your mum like getting cigarette butts out of the bin and shit. Like it was so bad. It was so embarrassing. I was like from 12 till 20, like hearing that. And, he was bashing her and all sorts of shit. And they're actually still together now.
Still now.
Yeah.
Still
So
doing the shit?
I don't know. Mum got sober like 8 years later, clean and sober, because my brother, another brother had kids, and it was like you're not going to see the grandkids, and so she did get clean for a while. But I think they get caught up in the hype of the world, as you would understand. My dad was clean and sober for 12 years, and then just went back a couple of years ago, and he's now shooting up ice again. And yeah, and I'm really close with my dad because dad never lied. Like dad always tells the truth, even if it hurts me, even if I don't want to hear it. Dad is, and I love that where mum's lied and manipulated forever. Taken a while to see that, but yeah. So I love my dad. He's got 9,000 lives though. Like fuck. Talking about the near-death experiences the other day, I remember him talking about times where he's OD'd and been out of his body and seen himself and come back, and he didn't think he'd live this long, and he walked me down the aisle to marry Dylan in 2023, and I was sobbing, absolutely sobbing, because I just never ever thought I'd get that moment of my dad walking me down the aisle. It was so fucking special, and I know he lived for that moment. I know he kept pushing forward for that moment, and then I was 23 weeks pregnant with Millie. And I said to him, oh, you got to stay alive till July now, Dad. Like, we talk that openly, right? Like, and he's like, yeah, I'll try. And then Millie fucking died. And so then he didn't get to meet her. And that fucking rattled me because I took the responsibility of that, because I kept telling everyone, like, don't let anyone up here. I don't want anyone to come to the hospital, because Dad's like, I'm going to kill the doctors. And I'm like, no, that's not going to fucking help, Dad. Like, so I just said, no one come. You can all meet her when she comes home. I'm going to need help, because I thought she was going to live. When she comes home from the hospital, you can all come up, help me with her. We're going to need the help. And so then obviously she died, and it happened so suddenly. And I remember standing at the funeral at the end, and Dad came up and he's like, can I see her? And I just went, fuck. And it's the biggest regret I have, that I didn't offer him or anyone close to us the opportunity to see her and hold her. Only Dylan's mum. But she was at our house, like she was there. She was on the journey with us, and I just knew that she, as a grandmother, needed to hold Millie. And so I invited her to come to the funeral home, and she held Millie. And
How'd you go with that one?
I can still like she just sobbed, like just held her and just fucking sobbed, like holding it. It was so sad. Yeah, because it was her little granddaughter. Do you know what I mean? And she always visualized like having Millie at the house, and she always says like, I always picture Millie sitting up at the bench and cooking with me, or being in the garden. And so yeah, so she came, and there was the only person we let hold her, and she'd already passed away. But she looked like the biggest angel. Like seeing Millie, I've never shared the photos, I don't think, but in the hospital, she was obviously like tubes, discolored, bruised, blood, all the things. And when she was in the hospital, in the funeral home, even Dylan struggled with that the most because he said she just looks perfect. Like she just looks like we could take her home. And they just had her wrapped in the blankets that we'd given them. And she had this bear in
I was
her.
just about to ask about the bear.
She had this bear in her wraps. And then I took hers out and swapped it with mine. So this is an organisation called Bears of Hope, and they give you 2 bears at the time when your baby's passing. And it's so that you have one and they have one. And it's even still got her like sticker from the hospital on there. But yeah, I swapped them. And I carried this for so long.
Has bear got a name?
He's just a Millie bear.
Just a Millie bear?
Just a
Is
Millie
it?
bear. But they're normally donated from another organisation. So we've raised money with them and that people will be given that bear. She's been sewn up a few times.
I'm gonna need to chuck some pink on you.
True. A little pink ribbon. But yeah, so, and it, like, so obviously Millie, when she was born, she had 2 broken arms and 2 broken legs. And when I said something to the lady at the funeral home who we knew, I said something about like, how does she look before we come see her? Because I'm really scared. I'm scared to see her. The last vision I have of Millie in the hospital was horrific after she'd passed away and not what I was expecting. And she said she's perfect.
What weren't you expecting?
I wasn't expecting how bad Millie would look when she died. So they took the tubes out and they said she might live for 1 minute, 1 hour, or a day, or a week. Like they didn't know. In my head, I thought we'd have a few days with her, whereas Dylan says he kind of knew we wouldn't. But it was so hard to take all the information in, right? Like it was such a whirlwind, but they took the tubes out and she was laying on my chest. And so I could only really see down like this, and Dylan was face to face with her. And her color changed. Like she was passing away. She was taking her final breaths right there on my chest, which like I feel so blessed that I had that though. You know, face to face with Dylan on my chest. Like
Yeah,
it was truly so beautiful, like in such a fucked up way. It was so beautiful. Like some people don't get that, you know.
Yeah.
The night before she died, she went into cardiac arrest and we almost lost her in that moment. And I don't know how I would have survived that because in that moment I was so fucking angry. Like I was like, this cannot be happening. There's like 12 doctors working on her, 10 o'clock at night till about 1. And Dylan and I were just sitting there holding each other, just watching all these people trying to bring her back to life. It was so fucked up. And because that day she'd had a really good day and we thought, amazing. Like we like legitimately didn't think she was going to die. We thought she was going to be perhaps in a wheelchair. We knew she was unwell, but we did not think she was going to die. And so I remember sitting there and I was trying to like deactivate social media because I was so angry at the world. And I was like, fuck God, fuck this, like, fuck. I was so angry. And then they brought her back and we were like, oh, like the roller coaster was wild, right? And Dylan says like he remembers he went to the toilet and he came back and it was just all calm. But what I truly believe is they said to us, what do you know? And we're like, we don't know. We don't know what, like you are the professionals. And I think they basically brought her back comatose. She was in a coma, but they brought her back to give us one last day.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. And I'm honestly so fucking grateful for it.
To say like a proper goodbye.
Yeah, we got to have a day with her. We got to invite family up. My sister flew from Sydney to Brisbane really fucking quick. She just got to the airport and said, I don't know what's going on, but I need to get to Brisbane. And Qantas got her on a flight. And, you know, people just surrounded us and Dylan's family came up and we were just guided by the nurses and they got a photographer in, they gave us the bears, you know, just like it was a whirlwind, but I still remember it super vividly. And we just got time with her. And even though it was only 1 day, like literally probably 12 hours actually. And the neonatologist came in and she said to me, she goes, oh, Millie caused quite the stir last night. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, because she's fought so hard for 6 days, she's given us the answers. She said, what happened last night has actually given us the final clue to her diagnosis. I was like, oh my gosh, amazing. And she said it will be amazing for her siblings. And I was like, what about Millie? And she just shook her head. And I was like, fuck, like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I just couldn't believe it.
Was that the first time you sort of found out that it was like...
That was it. That was
it?
Yeah. So that was the Thursday morning. And she said, go up. And I slept beside her bed that night, which you weren't allowed to do in NICU. But she said, go up and have a shower and come back down and we'll meet at 8:30. And Dylan and I came back down. I had to call him on the way up to the room and I was like, she's not coming home with us. And it was so fucked up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was so fucked up. Like, it was the moment that we just didn't think would happen. Like, and then when we came downstairs, I actually messaged a girl. I said, I knew that there was a girl at my church. I was a fucking solid Christian. And I knew there was a girl at church who had lost her baby. And then I used to see them singing on stage. And I'm like, how were they out there, like, singing to God when their baby died? And I messaged her and I said, I just found out my baby's not coming home. How do I breathe? Like, I just couldn't even breathe. And she was amazing. She said, like, all of this advice on hold them, smell them, cuddle them, take photos, listen to music. Like, it was so beautiful what she said. And so we did all of that and it was magical. And that's why, like, I've written an ebook now, which is like a little guided book for people who get in that situation where their babies found out their baby's not coming home with them. And like, what the fuck do you do? The hospital tell you, like, oh, you can take them outside, or you can. It just feels so weird in that moment. So yeah, I was super grateful that Amy, who I'm good friends with now, gave me that advice on, you know, what to do with her in that last couple of hours. And we cherish all those photos so much. But yeah, fuck.
I'm so glad that you did get to spend, you know, some time with Millie, both you and Dill and your family.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
As hard as it is, I would prefer to spend a second rather than none.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And we've always felt grateful for that. Like, even the 6 days with her in NICU, like, reading books to her. Dylan sat down with her more than me because I was trying to recover from the surgery. And, you know, they were just saying to me, your job is to heal and to express milk. Because when you go home with Millie, like, they obviously also thought that too. You know, when you go home, you need to be able to move and have milk and all the things. So, you know, I sat in the room pumping and expressing and trying to get better. And Dylan sat down watching footy with her and reading books to her. And, you know,
fucking footy.
Obsessed, eh?
Oh man, he's gonna be. You're gonna be an unreal mum, and he's gonna be an unbelievable father.
Oh,
like next level.
Totally. Like, I have all faith in that. I have all faith in that. Even I watch him with the dogs, he'll be like, come on, mum's cranky, let's go out for a bit. And we went to Bunnings the other week and I bought like new thermal mugs for our first like sunrise walk. So he always imagined, I bought him like a man carrier, a baby carrier, like a manly one.
Like off The Hangover.
Yeah, that's how he describes it.
Oh, God.
I bought him one of those when I was pregnant with Millie because he always imagined taking her to Burleigh on little like daddy-daughter dates and going to the sunrise and stuff. And so obviously never got to do that, which is fucked. But we're at Bunnings the other day getting the new barbecue and I was like, oh, there's some thermal mugs, let's get them and they can be for our first sunrise family walk and we'll have Huey in the carrier and yeah.
Huey.
Yeah.
I
don't know when this potty's coming out, but Huey.
Oh, yeah. He'll be here.
Yeah.
He'll be here.
Huey Hendricks.
I love that.
Cool, huh?
Yeah. That's funny. I don't know if I sent you or Dylan the song, Jimi Hendrix song,
really?
That reminded me of, I just can't remember the name of it right now.
Oh.
Little Wing?
Cute.
Yeah, I sent it came on one day and I'm like, man, this just hit me and just reminded me.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Huey, I sent Dylan a bunch of names early on and Dylan was set on that and I was like, we can't commit yet. I don't like committing too early. And he was in and it means man of the water, god of the sea or something. And Dylan obviously loves being out on the water and he connects a lot with his dad who passed away a few years ago when he's out on the water. So
I can tell that. I went out on the ski with him the other day, checked the crab pots.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, didn't you know?
Nah.
Fuck, he tells you a lot, doesn't he?
I don't know much. I sleep a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, went out and checked the crab pots, and I can tell he loves the water.
Yeah, he does, and he like we've battled with the church thing and the Christianity thing for years, and he always just says that's my church. Like, you know, he connects with God or his dad or the other side or just himself as a person out there. He worries me because he goes really, really fast.
I know he does.
My word.
Yeah, he did not hold back at all.
But I think it's also good for him because he is that adrenaline. He always needs that dopamine hit. So I think it's the safest way for him to get it, I guess.
At least water's soft.
Yeah. Yeah, Huey. So, and because when we were choosing Millie's name, he wanted Remy for a girl, and I hated it.
Oh, yeah?
Hated it. But when we got to the end of the pregnancy, I loved it.
I love Remy too.
So if we have a girl,
yep,
we have 2 embryos left. So we'll try again after this little guy. Not straight away. Dylan's like, okay, like how soon? I'm like, no, chill. But if we had a girl, we'd name her Remy Rose. So Rose after her sister, and Remy, because Millie's name is Millie Rose Remedy. Evrard. Yeah. So
I love that.
I love names. I think they're so. That's what I always said to Deal. You can't commit yet. It needs to have really good meaning and purpose. And yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
What happened after? I want to know what happened after Millie. Did you went to Vegas, didn't you? I want to know if you went into some type of self-sabotage, had the fuckets, like fuck. Obviously, I know I would have.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person back in the day where I got the fuckets a lot.
Yep.
And went into like a self-sabotage mode, like I just don't give a fuck about my life anymore.
Yeah. Such a good question. I did and I didn't. I was fucked. I was really fucked, and I was absolutely suicidal. I did not want to be here. I was very, very scared for my own safety quite a few times. And I just had to retreat. Like I just had to, there was at one point where, because I normally make all Dylan's appointments for the dentist and this, and I was like, you need to do you and I'm doing me. I'm sorry, but I can't take care of anyone right now but myself. Like I wasn't brushing my teeth. I was not sleeping. I was forgetting to take my meds, like my anxiety stuff. I started seeing a psych the day after I got out of the hospital with Millie. My GP booked me in as soon as she got the report. And she booked me in with a psych that afternoon at 2:00, who was the biggest angel and absolutely saved my life. Absolutely. But yeah, there was definitely times, and I've always said the thing that stops me taking my life is we got enough shit in our family. We got enough fucking family chains that need to be broken. That's not one that I'm willing to put into our family chain. I don't want to teach my nieces that that's what needs to happen. And I didn't want to die, so to speak. I just wanted to be with Millie. Like I just wanted to be up there with her, or I wanted everyone around me to, like there was times where I'd go to the psych and be like, I just want everyone around me to die because I just don't want anyone here. Like it was so fucking hard. I couldn't handle people. I still struggle with social settings often. Sometimes I'm really good, and other times, like I had a massive panic attack in church on Sunday and ended up not being able to breathe and driving myself to the hospital.
Dylan told me that was the first time you'd been back in church since?
I went Easter last year.
Okay.
But I was still in a kind of a good space last year. When I say good space, I was still trying to navigate the joy of things. Whereas the other day I was like, how the fuck do you want us to have joy when my child died? You know, and I'm blessed for this pregnancy and I'm blessed we have a son coming, but there's some things you just can't forgive or ever let go of. And I just really struggle with that. That rain is so loud.
It is loud, but she'll be right.
Okay, good.
It's nice.
That's good, hey?
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, I definitely struggled. I remember sitting up at Burleigh Beach. Would it have been February last year? Yeah, it would have been last year. And I just remember sitting there, didn't want to go home, didn't want to go anywhere, just looking at the ocean, and I just wanted to be in heaven with Millie. I just didn't want to be anywhere else. And I felt happy when I thought of that. And I remember thinking like, I'd be looking down with her and we'd be like, be so happy. Like, fuck, it was bad. It was a bad place to be though, because that's scary, right?
It is.
And so I was Googling like what private facilities I could go to, and I was going to go to a facility.
What type of facility? Like
a mental health
Yep.
something, just to keep me safe. Like I felt like I just needed to be in a fucking padded room or be safe.
That's when you'd be like, hey, Corey, what's some good places to go to?
Yeah.
You know?
Did we know you? Yeah, we did know you. We knew you. But
Yeah, I don't know if I shared. I don't know if I've ever shared too much about me being in mental health wards for different reasons, obviously.
Yeah,
but still dark.
but I knew that there was a place for me. I knew that I could call people. I knew I could go somewhere, and I knew that I could be safe. So that was my point of call. But we were going to New Zealand that weekend, and I just thought, oh well, if I go to the hospital now, I can't go to New Zealand the weekend. And Dylan and I were not in a good place, like. And I just thought, you know what, I'll go to New Zealand and I'll see how this goes. And if all else fails, then I'll admit myself when I get back. And we had an amazing time. New Zealand was so healing for us as a couple.
Queenstown?
No, we did North Island.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go South Island this year and take baby.
It's beautiful there, isn't it? The scenery is magic. New Zealand's a beautiful place.
I think it's a very healing place because they're so eco-friendly. They're good, not using plastic and bags and all that kind of stuff. But no, it was good for us, him and I, to switch off. I was also, so in answer to your question about sabotage, back in the day, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I would have absolutely gone on a drug bender. I loved party drugs for 2 years. So I had a fiance up until 2012. I was young. Central Coast was a big drug place. For years, I didn't want to do drugs because my family did. I don't want to be like them. And then I left my fiance in 2012 and I was like the party girl. My house was the party house. If you wanted to just get fucked up, like come to my house, I'd have these big wicked orb chairs and I loved it. I really, really fucking loved it. But I did it so hard for 2 years that I was like, I always knew I would stop though, because I never wanted to be like my mum. I never ever wanted to leave my kids. Once I have kids, that's it. I'm not taking drugs. I'm not doing that, and I don't want to leave them. So I'm actually always grateful that I had that time of those couple of years of benders, because it got it out of my system, and I will not do it again. I ended up moving to London in 2013. So yeah, partied for like a year, went to London, did all the festivals, did all the drugs, did all the things. And I just wouldn't do it now. I just wouldn't. I just feel like my body wouldn't handle it, but I just know my mental health wouldn't. So we had a couple of parties on after we lost Millie, and I said, if I take drugs, it's going to be real fucking bad. It's going to be real bad. And I had a hens party. There was every drug on offer, just February last year. And all I did was vape. I didn't even have a sip of alcohol because I just knew where my mental health was, and it was fucking bad. And I said, like, I'll probably have a great time now, but when everyone else goes to bed and I can't sleep, I'm not okay. So yeah, I didn't self-sabotage in that way. Probably the closest I came to sabotaging anything was probably my marriage. I definitely pushed Dylan away a lot in that time. It's hard. People grieve differently, and you resent them for, him trying to be funny and have banter. And I'm like, how the fuck can you be funny right now? Like, that's just his way of, trying to make people happy. And yeah, probably 2 or 3 times of like that really heavy suicidal ideation was probably the worst. But yeah, just worked through it. Getting pregnant absolutely helped. Like, besides the anxiety of losing him has been fucking chronic, but it's given me something to live for. And I just think if I never got this opportunity again, I don't know how I'd be. I'd probably be overseas somewhere and probably taking a lot of drugs, maybe. I don't know. I don't know, and I love Dylan. I love him, and I, truly see us growing old together. But I've just always needed to be a mom. Like, I've always needed to have babies here and our house full. And with saying that, just before we fell pregnant with this one, so that we did 4 rounds of IVF to get this little guy. And just before, when I was mid taking all my injections, I inquired about Life Without Barriers, I think it's called, and it's the fostering. We were going to foster. I just said, like, to Deals, let's foster, because we just want babies here, right? We want kids in our home. He wants kids. Like, if they're not ours, then, and he wasn't totally set on it just yet, but I was like, if I can't bring life into the world, then I need to save kids and have them in our home. So that was where we were at just before we fell pregnant with Huey.
I've thought about that too.
Yeah.
Before I'd met Kels, slapped with the instant
Yep.
family
Yeah.
because I have never been able to produce kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too sure if I was born that way or just the drug abuse during or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, like people say, I've been checked by a doctor and they've said that the chance is very low, but miracles have happened.
Yep.
And like I knew myself anyway. Like, to put it simply, I had not before Kels used protection and all that sort of thing.
Yep.
Plenty of times, and nothing had never happened. But yeah, I'd thought about doing that too. Like, I'd always wanted a little girl.
Yeah.
Always wanted a little girl, you know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
there's so many kids in need.
There's plenty.
So many. There's something like 10,000 kids in Australia, or even in Queensland maybe right now, that need home. Like, because so Life Without Barriers still contact me. Hi, Rochelle, just checking in to see where you're at.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, oh, heavily pregnant. Probably not a good time now. But, you know, I think it's magical. We actually have a friend who just got a random phone call about 6 months ago. Her ex-husband's niece has given birth and abandoned the baby, and they've called my friend's mum because this girl has said the only person I trust with my baby is this woman, and they've called her. Will you take her? And she's like, it's the call you never want to get because you cannot say no to it. You know, and so they're in the process of having this baby come live with them.
Wow, I think Dylan mentioned that to me last week. That's wild.
Wild. But so beautiful.
It is beautiful.
So beautiful. And especially they helped us with Millie's funeral, and they've been so heavily involved, and they've been blessed with grandchildren and babies in their family. And I think they've just like, this is our calling. That she's, you know, if someone calls you and says, hey, this baby needs adopting, and they've told, I'll take her. You know, like.
Absolutely. Like, if I had more resources too, like.
But you'd find them. You'd find the resources.
You do find them, don't you?
Mm.
You make it work.
Mm-hmm.
I've come across that so many times. Like, I never thought I could be ready.
Yeah.
But it just happens.
Yeah.
You know, people say, oh, Kyle, I've got to do it at this time or that time. There's no fucking time.
Mm-mm. And then even when you think you're ready, like Dylan and I thought we were ready 4 years ago, and here we are only just fucking hopefully bringing a baby home this week.
You will be.
We will be.
You will be. There's no hope. I don't even know. Yeah, that hopefully word's not even in. It shouldn't be in your vocabulary.
I know. It's fucking hard to say.
It is.
Confidently, but no, we are bringing our baby home next week, but the week after.
Yeah.
But
the minds are fucking a very sinister, deceiving dog maggot. I like to call it a maggot dog. You know, the connection of the past and the future. That's, you know, the things that we live through and experience that fall and fade away into the past that we've been through make us anticipate the same things to happen. And that's what brings on that anxiety, hey? And it's like we fully miss that middle part, which is this moment right now, the present.
Yeah, I know.
So
it's a fucking battle. It's a battle.
It is. Do you believe in God still? Well, what is God to you, firstly?
I've been debating this question for like 2 years, but I've probably been debating it a long time. But yeah, losing in the first couple of months, we were like all for it still. You know, she's healed, she's in heaven, and I still truly believe that. I absolutely believe that she's up there. Her spirit is so strong. Like, mate, she'll get me the best parking spot at the shopping centre. Even my sister will message me, long weekend and I just got to park near the front door. Thanks, Millie. But, and I, you know, I think the thing I struggle with the Christianity side or the religious side is that every time I'd go to church after, I've been a couple of times, and they're just praising God for the healing and praising God for the miracles. And I'm like, where the fuck was our healing and where the fuck was our miracle? And then I try to reword it. She was a miracle and she did get healed once she'd passed. But it's like, it's not the fucking same. You know, they tell us in church that if we pray enough, they're healed here. And we fucking prayed that week. Like, I had worship music playing. I love worship music. I love the music that the Pentecostal church play. And I had that playing during her birth. There's a song when it comes on, it takes me straight back. Like, I know it. And at the time I was like, because that music was playing, that's why we got, that she survived in that moment. Like, I was really, and yeah, Dylan and I were solid. We were praying, we had music play. Dylan was playing the worship music in the hospital, like, and I still listen to it and I still feel it. I don't think I can go back to church. Like, the other day really fucked me. Really, I just was sitting there just angry listening to this pastor stand on stage and preach joy in the hard times. I'm like, fuck off. Do you know hard times? Like, and I just wanted to get out of there. So I would say, like, for me, and I've always, so with Christianity, they've got God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, and I love the Holy Spirit, and that's what I've always believed in, which is when Jesus rose again, and it's his spirit that guides us. I do truly believe in that, and I love that, because if I didn't have the belief in that, then would I believe Millie's up there, and would I believe that she's the butterfly that comes around us or flies around Dylan at work, or the dragonfly that was stuck in our frame at home the other day behind Millie's jersey? Like, what the fuck? So I love the spiritual aspect of it. I hate the religion side. I hate the bullshit side. I hate the... But then you have other Christians who are like, just come to him with all the anger. He can handle it. He loves you and all the rest of it. So there's, there is comfort in that, but nah, I'm still pretty angry about it.
And you've got every right to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get angry too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't... Like, I don't even know what I get angry at, like the universe, or, I call it God, the universe, source, the creator of all things, whatever.
Yeah.
I can get very angry at it.
Yeah.
Call it a dog, certain things. I'm sure you've said some pretty nasty things.
Yep. And because before I became a Christian, I was always talking about the universe. Sorry, baby reflux.
No, you're all good. It doesn't even faze me. I get it without the baby.
Yeah, I was always talking about the universe put this person in front of me, or the universe did this, and I was heavy into that. I love 1111. I love numbers, and have since school. Like, my friends tell me at school I was the same. And then when I was traveling the US in about 2017, huge midlife crisis. I was like 30. But
no, you're right.
Yeah. No, yeah, met a lot of them. I met a lot of Christians on the way, and they were like, that God created the universe, and it just made sense to me at the time. I was like, cool, that's sick. Like, they're like, you can take God home with you, and you can take Jesus home with you. And I was like, yeah, I love that. Like, for me, it was like a buddy that I would have, and I was single, and I was having horrendous relationships and being hurt here, there, and everywhere. And so for me, that was what brought Christianity into my life, and I was heavy into it for a long time. But for me, it just was like something that made me feel part of something, and something that I could put all of my stresses onto. Like, okay, I don't need to carry this on my own. So, but yeah, universe, God.
I love the story of Jesus. That's how it should be. We all have the power within us.
Yeah.
And that's, the story that I've looked into. That's all he was trying to do. He wasn't trying to gain followers or anything like that. He was just trying to show people their true potential and true power.
And love everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Even when people don't love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's helped me forgive a lot of people over the years, for sure. Like, lead with love and love people where they're at, even, within a family and stuff like that. But then you've also got to learn boundaries, and okay, I'm just going to love these people and forgive them, but then not let them back in as well.
Yeah. You can love them by cutting them.
Yeah.
Not actually physically cutting them, just cutting them.
Cut the ties. Yeah, I've had to learn that. Definitely. Yeah. It's hard.
Have you gone within yourself to resolve certain things? Have you found some type of answers to, some sort of silver lining within everything that unfolded with Millie?
With Millie, I guess I went and saw my GP the other day. She wanted to see me, and she's a solid Christian, and she wanted to pray for me, and I just sobbed. I said, I really struggle with people praying for me, Gabrielle, because, I was prayed for a lot when I was pregnant with Millie, and we didn't know anything was wrong. Like, just because I was in the church, people would be like, oh, can we pray for you? And they would pray, and then everything happened, and I'm like, please don't pray for me. Like, is it gonna jinx me or something? But the way she worded it was like, the life is already set out for everyone, and that was Millie's life path, and look how much lives she's changed and she's touched, and what you've created in her legacy. And she said Millie wasn't meant to be here and live a painful life of surgeries and all the things. So if I try to look for the silver lining in that way, like, because I was always like, but why couldn't she have just been born healthy? like, why did I have such an unwell child? Like, she had a life-limiting disease created at conception. Like, how the fuck did that happen? But yeah, she wasn't meant to be here in a wheelchair and having surgeries, and she would have been, not able to speak. She never would have got her period. She never would have got to do all the things that a beautiful little girl should be doing. And so I guess that is the silver lining, but you still struggle with it. I would choose to have her here and pushing her wheelchair 10 times over, So it's just a battle. I don't know if you can ever find a silver lining.
Well, you mentioned that the time that she hung on for, which is,
Yes. Yeah.
that allowed the doctors to dive a bit deeper into things that
Yeah.
you made it sound like would help
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, so we now know that this guy doesn't have, so her disease was called Nemaline rod myopathy, which is basically she didn't grow muscles.
How rare is that?
1 in 50,000, super rare.
Far out.
And it was a de novo mutation, which is even rarer. So Dylan doesn't carry it and I don't carry it. It was literally one egg and one sperm created that DNA's mistake. They call it a mistake. They describe it as like, say this is your arm and your spelling is here, and then all of a sudden there's a spelling mistake, and then it keeps going, and that's our DNA. And there was just an error in the DNA, and that created this disease. And it was at conception. And so because she lived for that long, because some people have stillbirths or their babies die straight away, and the autopsies are fucked. Like the whole autopsy world is awful. People wait years, they don't get diagnoses, they come back inaccurate. And so then people go on having babies fearful for the entire time. Like, I don't know if my child's going to have the same disease. There's a couple in WA that have lost 2 children, like got their children home and then the symptoms don't come on till later. That baby died, and before they even got the autopsy back for that one, they fell pregnant again, not realizing that the second baby would have it. Their second child died at 9 months. So, like, fucking imagine. Like, I just can't. It just blows my mind. Like, it's heart-wrenching. And so we were lucky because we had enough evidence from Millie's CTGs, EEGs. They took a skin graft. She fought for 6 days so that we could get answers, so that we could have children that didn't have the same disease, essentially. And so she was our little miracle Millie, and she was a brave girl, and she was strong, and yeah, she did all of that for us. And fuck, so blessed to have had her, right? Like, just so blessed that she is ours, and I'm her mom, and I carried her till 39 weeks so I can feel confident that this guy's not going to come early because, my body has proved that I've carried a full-term baby before. She also proved that I could fall pregnant naturally, hence why I had Remedy in her names, Remedy and Cure. I felt like she cured my body because I couldn't fall pregnant for so long. And so I guess they're all the silver linings. She's amazing. She's the best little daughter and best girl, and she's with us all the time. She sends Dylan beautiful messages now. Like, he came home yesterday and he's like, I've got 4 jobs within our street over the next 2 weeks. He goes, Millie's been setting up some work for me so I can be close to home. Like, and I just love he's getting so much better at speaking about that. And he goes, she's so clever.
I truly do believe that. I really hard out believe that it's never a goodbye. It's never just like a proper permanent goodbye. It's just, I'll see you later. I'll see you again soon. Like, this journey is quick. It's going to be quick. It's like a blip. And I've said it before. I'm 36 now. Time's moving pretty quick. Like, it feels like the click of a finger.
Yeah.
Time's just fucking flown by, and I know when I get to the age, whatever that age is, that moment at the end of my journey, I'm going to be like, holy shit, that was so quick.
Yeah.
And I'm really not going to waste it,
Yeah. And I feel like she taught me to not be scared of death. Like, because even in that time, so we got sent a friend, like, everyone was so amazing, and we got sent so much money, and we didn't do a GoFundMe because that felt so, like, we were like, oh no, but everyone sent us money and gift cards and travel vouchers, and we ended up going to the US for 3 weeks, which was so hard because we were only there because Millie died, and so how do you enjoy a holiday when you're not there for the right reasons? You shouldn't be there. I was postpartum, so I still had milk. I got my period. It was horrendous. I still had a belly. Ugh, it was awful. And everyone's like, oh, holidays for? You make friends by the pool and it's like, oh, my daughter died.
Fuck, yeah. Full on, eh?
We were trying to learn that journey of what do we say? Like, and sometimes we'd be like, oh, we're on our honeymoon. No, you know, it was, then Dylan and I ended up, you know, it was banter because it was like, fuck, what can we make up this time? Or just, let's just bomb this person. Oh yeah, our kid died. You become like, fuck, because you're trying to protect your own heart and learn how to navigate this question, which I get the question every time I'm in public right now. Oh, is it your first? Oh no, it's my second, you know, and then I either try not to go into it or I'll be, oh, my first died. Because how do I deny her? I don't want to not talk about her.
No, I don't think you should. I think you should be able to share freely as fuck.
Yeah, I do most of the time. It's and it, sometimes I forget where I was going before that, talking about America and stuff. But I was in Bunnings the other day and this older lady was serving us and she's like, oh, is it your first? And having a chat. And I said, oh, no. And sometimes I feel like I need to say it, like I want to. And I go, oh, our firstborn passed away. And she goes, oh, my gosh, I lost my firstborn too. And this was an old woman. She goes, you're so blessed. I never got to have any more. And I said, oh, you know what? I said, I really know I am. I know I'm so blessed. And I do know that. Like some people don't get to have more kids. Some people lose their last born. Some people never fall pregnant, you know. So I do truly know how blessed we are to have another little dude coming, for sure.
I think you're blessed too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's a beautiful thing about sharing openly and like from the heart without any filter. Yeah. You come across the sharings and stories of others that open up your mind and your heart to, you know, that you are blessed because that woman couldn't have any more. It
broke her marriage. Like she says, oh, my husband and I didn't survive it. And so they never got to have any more kids. Whereas I'm like, you know, we're getting there. It's worth it. They say that 85% of marriages fail after baby loss. 85%.
Yeah.
Because it's just so, it's heavy. But
actually, I was watching a doco on TV the other day. It was about, I think it's the Oklahoma bombing. There was a couple in there that lost their 6-month-old in the bombing, and there's an interview with both of them talking about baby that passed away, and then in the present moment, it's just the
mother,
wife,
or just
the mother.
Yeah, you can see how it happens. Absolutely.
Do you think it's from the grief, both individuals grieving differently and not sort of seeing?
Yeah.
Proper?
Yeah. I wouldn't say women and men grieve differently, just people in general. It's majority, obviously, the woman, I would say, feels it more for sure because we carry them, we birth them, all of the rest of it. In the podcast space of the ones I've done, I've interviewed a couple of very emotional men, which is quite nice, but they're normally the ones that say yes to coming on. But majority of the time, it's the women that talk about it the most and feel it the most. And then I think the women struggle because they feel like the men aren't grieving, but the men don't feel like they can show it as much because they're trying to be the strong one or the, you know, and then it comes across as they don't care or in Dylan's way, joking and banter. And it's like, how can you be joking in this moment? And then, I think it's the different ways of grieving. And then obviously it changes you from the core. Like you look at photos of Dylan and I minutes before going into birth Millie to now, we are different humans. And I don't think we'll ever be the same again. You can't experience losing a child and that amount of trauma and ever be the same again.
No, I don't think so. I think you're supposed to change, transform through something like that through pain.
Yeah. Yeah, beautifully broken, I like to say.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we all are.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not broken. I don't know. Broken, imperfectly perfect. Yeah. Maybe we're all living on like a mental asylum. Maybe we're all prisoners here and we're all fucked up and crazy cunts.
You should see his eyes as he's looking.
Sorry, Huey. Do not absorb that word.
Oh, it's my favorite word. I just always say, my sister and I always say it in private, like, because it's like not something you should say out loud, and then we're like, she's a cunt.
Well, I know I can say it freely then.
So I've just introduced my sister to it, and she loves it. It's great. Oh. You got to say it in the context, you know.
Absolutely. I think there's nothing wrong with It's just a word. It's just a bunch of letters jumbled up into a word at the end of the day. It's all about how you deliver it. If you deliver it with the intention to hurt someone, then you're a fuckwit.
Yeah. I'll tell my sister a story that I'm like angry about, and then at the end I'll be like, she's just being a proper cunt. She's like, and you don't, because it's just laughable.
My family and I, we got a group text thing going on, and they all sent me birthday wishes yesterday. Yeah. And I said, thanks for the birthday wishes, you bunch of cunts, this morning.
Yeah, like, perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. Like, they know. They're sweet with it.
That's great.
Oh, I think that's... I just want to have a quick look. I had a couple of things written down, but I haven't even looked at it yet. I think the last one was just... How are you feeling, like, a week away? How are you feeling in this present moment?
Good. I feel good. I feel excited. I genuinely feel excited. I'm super stoked to be having a baby. I'm stoked to be having a little boy and bringing him home and, you know, doing life with him. And when we lost Millie, I returned everything, which I didn't think I would. My friend worked for Baby Bunting and she reached out and she's like, oh, you can return all the big ticket items. And I was like, oh no, like, we're going to have more babies. And then she said, well, if there's things that I have warranty and all the rest of it, like, I thought, oh, okay. So I returned it all. And then I was like, I'm never fucking buying anything for a child again. Like, once he's here, Dylan can go out and buy the car seat and the pram and all that. I'm not doing it, because if I have to return it, I can't. Like, that broke my soul. And then my psych said, but what if you don't have to return it? And what if this is a healing experience and it's different? And I was like, shit. So I have everything. As I do. Everything's ready. The car's packed. The hospital bag's packed. And it's actually so nice that, again, I feel blessed that I get to experience this again. I get to buy the pram. I get to do the capsule. I get to feel the car. And we've done it before and it didn't go to plan, but it's going to go to plan this time. And yeah, I'm excited. I can, at any moment, that can change.
I can't wait to meet him, mate.
I can't wait for you guys to meet him. I think that's what I get so excited about. Like, at first I was like, oh, we're not going to have visitors. And then Dylan's like, you are going to want to show him off. And I'm like,
fucking hell.
Yeah. And then I picture you guys all coming in and meeting him. And, you know, your boys are just so beautiful talking about him and they're excited. And it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see him grow up with everyone. And yeah.
It's going to be special. Kels and I are going to Gordon Country the day of.
Yeah.
The day you go into theatre, but you're going to let us know, aren't
you? We wrote a list the other night of everyone. We've got a text and it literally says, Kels and Corey, brackets, they lose reception at 11, be quick. Bracket. My GP was like, she's flying to Argentina the day and she's like, please, can you just text me and let me know? And I was like, that's so beautiful that my GP needs to know. So she's like, she flies out at 9 a.m, send her first, you know. So yeah, no, we've got a little text to send out to whoever on the Friday. But yeah, so stoked, so happy. Dylan's been counting down the minutes for fucking weeks.
I think there's a lot of people that are excited.
There are.
For this.
There are. It's been a little bit hard the last couple of days. I'm already starting to get messages from a lot of people, like, thinking of you and da-da-da, which is nice, but there's a lot of pressure. There's been a lot of pressure on me to have this baby for a long time. There's a lot of hearts that feel they need to be healed from me and this baby, so it's been a lot. You know, I'm being the sole responsibility of this little human for the last 9 months, and it's a lot. So I'm excited to breathe again. Like, I can imagine the weight of the world is going to come off my shoulders when he comes out. And because then it's not just my responsibility anymore, you know, like I've got Dylan and I've got a team and I've got this, but obviously will come different anxieties and different fears, but I just need him here.
He'll be here very soon before you know it.
1 week today.
I've got a pretty good relationship with the, whatever you want to call it, the spirit world. A pretty, banterish sort of relationship too. So if I was to say one thing to the universe or God, I'd probably say, don't be a cunt.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be...
I will have a word to Hugh. Like, when the GP prayed for me the other day, she was like visualizing the angels in the room and stuff like that, which was so beautiful. Like, just angels in the room protecting us and Millie there. And I've made a basket and it's going to have this bear in it and her weighted doll. I have a doll that's the same weight that Millie was. So you can hold it and imagine it's her. And I've got her ashes and it's all in a little basket and it's got a plaque that says Big Sister. So that's going to be in the theatre with us. And we will be absolutely surrounded by so much spirit world and
Oh,
love and
yeah.
support. And he's going to come out, and I'm going to say to him before he comes out, make sure you scream and
Yeah.
open your eyes and you breathe.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I'll be pinch ya.
Yeah, pinch his bum. Oh, it's going to be amazing. Not
It
long
is.
now.
Not long. Well, Rochelle, thanks so much. I feel very honoured and blessed to have you on the
Thank you.
podcast. You've from your experience, I know that you've touched a lot of people, the hearts of a lot of people. That's mine included.
Yeah.
Where can people find you online? And well, if you would like to say anything to anyone, any mothers or families that have been through something similar.
Yeah. So I share a lot of our journey on Instagram, rochelle.nicole.evrard. And then I also have the podcast page, which I don't do a lot on there, but Little Life, Big Loss podcast. I did 35 episodes interviewing parents and being interviewed myself just about the journey of baby loss, life after loss, postpartum after loss, dad's experience of loss. So littlelifebigloss.com.au is also a good website and resource if you've lost a baby or you want to connect. There's a beautiful community out there. I think out of everything, I've made some amazing friends. And I think even having baby, I will spend more time with my lost mums with my new baby because I know we have different conversations. It's not your first and it is different. There's different anxieties. And so I love hanging out with the ladies that I've met in that world. But yeah, my advice is just, it's fucking tough. Just dig in and see. For me, a psychologist was a no-brainer. I don't think I'd be here without her. I see my GP, I take medication, I spend time sleeping, and I spend time doing things for myself. I'm very cautious with who I actually spend my time with. I try to put my armor on before I go out in public. Like, you just never know what's going to come at you. But yeah, just dig in and try to get through it. It's not for the faint-hearted.
No, it's not. I just one thing, you just triggered something in my mind. Then I heard that it's probably not the first time that you've done this, but even though you've been through the pain that you've been through, you still get your ass up and go help out people that need help. I heard you went for a drive to Brisbane one day with someone what happened there, just quickly?
She's 21 and she lost her baby at 4 weeks old. And he died suddenly in public with her. It was fucking horrific. And I interviewed her on the podcast, and I just felt like she just needed a cuddle and she was like a little sister. And she had not washed his bottles since he died, and it had been a while, and they were like growing mold and stuff. And I was like, I'm going to come up, I'm going to help you clean these things. But I also said, when I get there, if you still don't feel like you want to clean it, don't worry about it. I can't imagine, like, when we went home, our house hadn't changed, which was weird in itself. You go home and you're like, did that just happen? Was I just in hospital for a week? Was I just pregnant for 9 months? Like, it felt like there was this void of life. But when people lose their child that's been in their home, there's other things they've got to deal with. The pram that he had vomited and died in, she didn't wash that. And so I just remember her telling me, and I'm thinking, man, I love my clean house, and I love that I've been able to cleanse that area, and she's living day to day in this space that she feels like she cannot clean because since she's removing him. And so, yeah, I just drove up and had coffee with her and went to her house, and I just sat with her and looked at his photos and just let her talk about him, and we looked at all the things, and we didn't clean it. She wasn't ready, and that's okay. Like, you can't force that. People spend years with their husband's clothes hanging in the wardrobe that they can't get rid of it or whatever. So, but she's just gone on to have a little baby girl, and she's loving that journey, and she's now postpartum depression, as it would be, but because I can't even imagine. It's fucked. You hold that trauma, like my trauma is at the Caesar, and obviously 6 days after, hers is 1 month old. How do you go all that time pregnant, have the baby, and then a month, like every time she walks that walk that she's done before with her.
See, that's the thing, like, if you hadn't gone through what you went through, who would have been there for her?
I know. Yeah. And I love being there for people. Sometimes I struggle with the message. I get a lot of messages, and I sometimes struggle. So I try to direct them to the podcast or the website or whatever. But every now and again, I'll get into a deep and meaningful with someone, and it's it helped me during that time. but it's more than for me. And I had to end the podcast at a certain season because Dylan was like, you need to stop. Like I was very emotionally carrying everyone's journey heavily. And he's like, you got to stop. And I was, we're trying to get pregnant and stuff. And then I think I was pregnant with him. But I think the thing I struggle with now is I do get a lot of messages from people who are pregnant and have anxiety. And I'm like, oh, can't carry that for you. And I don't. I'm really, really good at boundaries for myself. I can't carry that. I'm just going to leave that there. So now I feel like my next season is having a baby after loss and enjoying that, but also being with the ladies. And like sometimes I'll meet up with ones that their baby's 9 months old and I'm like, oh, how's it been? Like, and they say it's fucking beautiful. Like they love, you realize what you missed out on. It's going to be hard because I'm going to really realize what we missed out on with Millie.
Bittersweet.
Yeah.
Bittersweet. You can really sort of do some really good work there, you know what I mean? Talk about Millie, talk about Huey.
Oh yeah.
Talk about that guy that you live with, Dill.
I'll do a season 2 of the potty for sure.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it just won't be as heavy as the first one. I want to do more like a Where Are They Now? There's some amazing women out there that have written books and done this and created this, and I want to interview those ladies. And
yeah.
Hello.
Well, I feel like I'm got so much respect for you and Dill. Like I'm blessed. I'm able to call you guys my friends, like my actual friends, and that friendship continues to blossom and grow. So thank you for walking into our lives. And
so blessed. We love you guys. We truly do. Probably like just, the most genuine, authentic, loveliest, easiest family to hang out with. We love it.
Likewise. Come and give us a cuddle.
No.
Oh, thank you.
You're so nice.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys.
You're welcome.
You have a good one.
Thank
you. We'll see you next week, I guess.
With a baby.
Yep. Bye-bye now.
Bye.